Right then, I have been preparing for this for like 4 months.
I'm very excited.
I'm very excited to finally show you this.
I have been shitting bricks about mine, but I've been very excited about yours.
So, as we go through, there's a couple of disclaimers before we get into it. So we both did pitches, and I've gone for the process of, like, instead of inserting Doom into the pre-existing MCU, I've completely redone the MCU.
Because your exact words to me, it'd be more fun probably for me to do something I was passionate about, which was getting Doom in there. If that's just one character, you were like, oh no, I've got plans for the entire universe.
I wouldn't really enjoy just, like, flicking through and altering little bits and bobs.
Yours is more thought through. Mine was, there was a lot of unaffected. Yours is like, oh no, everything's affected.
So just before we get like too far into it, I've got some guidelines that I want to establish.
Okay.
So I've tried my best to recast every single character featured, not including side characters. So for example, Foggy and Karen that do appear, they're the same.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that casting, so I wouldn't change it.
Well, there's nothing wrong with any of the other cast. It's just that you have personal opinions on some other casting.
Yeah, and also because I'm making this like my own universe, I don't really want to like have other actors from the regular MCU associated with it. I'm like, let's just clean slate.
Yeah, okay.
So this mostly takes place in a timeless era. I'm not going from 2008 onwards because logistically it wouldn't make sense for some of my fan cast. This is fantasy casting.
Okay.
The focus is more so on like the stories that I'm telling, whereas the fan casting is just a nice little added visual.
Yes.
I tried my absolute hardest to naturally build to as many story arcs and big comic events as possible while still making it cohesive and having its own continuity. So there are comic arcs in this that are from the comics. I've tried my best to make them apply to what I've already established. Okay. So I'm not just going to throw in the Civil War adaptation from the comics and make it exactly comic accurate because I would have to do like 30 years of build-up. So my Civil War applies to my MCU kind of thing.
Yeah, okay.
I also do include a lot of MCU inspo in terms of certain films, where some films remain the same but with small changes and stuff.
Yeah, so it's like slight tweaks.
Yeah. Are you ready? Also, one thing that I want to add on is I was initially going to do the box office for this.
Yeah, you said that.
And I do for like the first portion of it, but I haven't had the time to go through all of it and figure it all out.
When you said about doing box office, I was like, you are very confident. You're very confident in yours working.
I thought like, because it would be similar to the IRL one, so it wouldn't be too difficult to figure out. But I've got 16 years to go through. So I don't want to do it. I know. So when you see the box
50
office
minutes,
stuff,
yours is going to take a day.
when you see the box office stuff, just ignore it.
Okay.
But I have got release dates.
I've
got like this releases in the month of May, year whatever. So that it's got like a cohesive timeline.
Yeah.
Year 1, assembled. I don't think they all have these little taglines.
You give up on that?
Yeah. I got like 5 or 6 years in, I'm like, I can't do this.
Alright then. Year 1.
Iron Man.
Ooh, I like that casting.
Pascal is Tony Stark. So inspired heavily by the original Iron Man movie, showing the same origins with the MK1 armor, the cave scenes, and Tony's ventures into technology and benefiting humanity after his near-death experience. You got the same character development of him being a douchebag, not being a douchebag by the end of it.
I'd really dig that casting. I would have thought that.
I'd like to include more flashbacks to really hammer home just how much he's actually changed. So like in Iron Man 2 where you get to see like him being a dickhead at the New Year's Eve party.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, just add more of it in.
Okay.
The villain of the movie would remain the same, still Ironmonger, but with the introduction of S.H.I.E.L.D. towards the end and Tony actually officially becoming the first recruited Avenger.
Oh, that's interesting, because in the real MCU, they go to him and then he's been kicked out by the time you get to Avengers 2.
Yeah, they ask him to join.
Because isn't that the theory of like why he
we
goes...
don't want him.
That's why, because isn't that the reason why he gets sent to talk to like General Ross, is because he knows it'll fuck it up because they want an abomination or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just an Avenger at this point. So this comes out March of year 1. It's your first MCU film. Marvel lore.
Oh boy.
This is a TV show. Season 1 consists of 9 episodes. It comes out in July, so it's the second event. It would be like a Disney Plus thing, and it would drop in bulk. We're not doing weekly drops for this show.
Okay.
Marvel Law is a live-action, high-budget TV show that hyper-focuses on certain characters, with cameos from other supporting characters and mostly showing origin stories, low-level villains, and interactions, filling in any gaps and context that's needed for later on. The general idea is that you don't have to watch the show, but it's just nice
it's an extra
stories and stuff.
And it tells origins that we've maybe already seen.
Yes. So, for example, we've got Spider-Man. Spider-Man's going to have 3 episodes. Mm-hmm. We've got The Coven and the Red Room. We've got Agent Carter.
So I'm assuming from the spider bite stuff that starts with him getting bitten. Second one would be maybe like the first time, like his Uncle Ben, and then the third one is him maybe putting the suit on for the first time. I'm guessing.
So the thing I was the spider bite with great power would be Uncle Ben dying.
Yeah,
and then those we leave behind would be him learning from like realizing And we'd probably throw in like Shocker or somebody as like a nice little first villain for him to take out.
What would the Coven ones be?
So the Coven and the Red Room arc, I don't know if did I change the Red Room stuff? No, okay.
We shot ahead a little bit there.
That's fine. The Coven and the Red Room arc, we've got World of Assassins, and Keen Shot, which would literally be basically the Black Widow film. Mm-hmm. A lot of like exposition, lore, how the Black Widows are made, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Salem 1693, there's a flashback in WandaVision of how Agatha gets turned on by her coven. That's that.
Oh, okay.
These would only be like half an hour to 40-minute long episodes.
Okay.
The Agent Carter arc is the most important because it comes up a lot more later, and also we're getting Agent Carter before we get Captain America.
Okay, interesting.
So we've got Down the Barrel, Hail Hydra, and the Winter Soldier. We'll get into it because I've got little presentations on each one anyway.
Okay.
So we've got Spider Bike.
Spider Bike.
With Ashby Gentry as Peter Parker. I know that you don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is. He looks like Peter Parker.
He does. So we've got the 3-episode arc, all consist in 30-minute to 45-minute episodes. Again, live action. Big on the live action. Yeah. High budget. They're actually putting effort into it. Origins of Spider-Man, covering the wrestling hijinks. I want to see him wrestling the suit at like the start of episode 3.
Yeah. You could maybe have like that homemade suit without like the goggles on it.
Yeah. The death of Uncle Ben, suit creation, and taking on his first rogue, the Shocker.
Yeah, I think as well, putting like Spider-Man as like the first, that means that series is going to be a success straight off the bat. It's Spider-Man.
But it's not like oversaturation to the point. It's like all of his origins is there in 3 episodes.
Into something so people know what's
going on. So when we
on.
get to the Spider-Man film,
he's already established.
Yeah, we don't have to do any of that.
Yeah.
So we've got Red Room, introduction to Natasha, how she met Clint, because he's going to be here very, very soon. Introduction to Yelena as well. Generally follow Widow on one of her missions. The villain for this being Snapdragon, who is a Black Widow villain. Everything Black Widow and Hawkeye related, I've kind of taken a lot of inspiration from like John Wick, the Bourne films, like those grounded, gritty kind of like action thrillers.
Yeah. Okay.
The Coven, I didn't go into detail with it, but I was like, this is the perfect place where you could like name drop Stark or name drop Clint Barton, like
because they're ancestors. Yeah, and that's all about like her coven turning on her and stuff like that.
Yeah, but we're only going to do 1 episode of it because you don't really need too much of it. It's just a nice little boom. Mm-hmm. And then Agent Carter. I'm not changing the casting for a lot of these, by the way, either. Like Catherine Hahn's brilliant. Mm-hmm. I forgot.
Haley Atwell.
Yeah, she's brilliant. So this is another 3-episode arc. It's probably the most important one out of the set, even though I know we've got Spider-Man. But this sets up more for the MCU. So following an operation set in the 60s, around Christmas time, because it would release a little bit later in the year, Agent Peggy Carter, a S.H.I.E.L.D. operative, is tasked with stopping an assassination attempt on the president, who is JFK. During this, she discovers that Hydra is behind the attempt, and after stopping them, we see an ending scene of another Hydra group experimenting on twin children. How old would
Peggy Carter be?
Well, she's like late 20s, so she would be maybe like
40s?
Late 40s, early 50s.
So she's
around this time.
It's more of an older.
Yeah,
Carter, then.
Definitely. Okay. I kind of headcanon that she's maybe in her 40s because she then comes back a little bit later around the same age.
Yeah. Okay.
She's like experienced at this point. Lady Hydra is present here. That's her.
That might be why you had that figure in your thing, because you were maybe trying to build this out. Yeah,
in my wish list. During one of Carter's covert ops on a Hydra base, the children that have been experimented on escape. The end of the show, in the finale, has us witness a showdown between Agent Carter and the Winter Soldier, a Hydra agent that is being used to take down government officials.
So are you this is where are you having Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver in the 60s?
Yes.
Wow.
I've got a reason for it.
Okay.
So,
it's interesting.
Obviously, I won't get into it yet because it will come back. But, like I said, this has got massive ramifications further on down the line.
Yeah.
You've got the introduction of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. You've got Winter Soldier. I love the idea of seeing, like, a seasoned pro Captain Carter, Agent Carter, going up against Winter Soldier.
You keep wanting to call her, like, Captain Britain or something, don't you?
I'm used to calling her Captain Carter from, like, What If and stuff.
Yeah.
So it keeps slipping, but yeah. Then we've got Black Widow and Hawkeye. Comes out in September.
Oh, there's actually a movie of them.
They are getting their own film. So this movie gives us an origins for Hawkeye, since Widow's was covered in the Marvel lore. We also get cameos from Hawkeye's partner, as well as Yelena. I think Hawkeye's partner is like Hummingbird or Songbird or something.
Oh, right, yeah.
She's played by like Velma from the Scooby-Doo films.
Yeah. I didn't realize she was an actual character.
Yeah. The film follows the same format as like a John Wick, Bourne-style film, with the villain being Taskmaster.
Like proper Taskmaster.
Yeah, is very early in his own career. He isn't as skilled, but you're getting like hints of him being able to mimic.
So in this one, he'd copy the abilities of by the end of it, Black Widow and Hawkeye.
Yeah. So when you get that showdown, I know it's Marvel formulaic to have like.
So when they get that showdown, they'd have to actually work together to take him down because he'd be copying their combat beat for beat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I want to like heavily establish like the sibling relationship between the two rather than them being like shipped or anything like that.
Yeah, so you pushing hard that no, they're more like brother and sister in arms. Sort of
yeah. Thing. At the end of the film, Taskmaster is placed in a containment facility while we see the construction of a prison known as the Raft. Okay. And then I've just put that there's heavy inspiration from John Wick, Atomic Blonde, the Bourne films, that kind of...
It's like a bit of an espionage movie.
Visually that's what the film would look like.
Yeah. And what's that other bit? We also get the debut of Nick Fury and some other supporting S.H.I.E.L.D. men debuted in Iron Man. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's when Nick Fury first comes into it.
Yeah, we've given them the assignment that Taskmaster is a thing and that sort of stuff. I don't think I've cast Nick Fury, I've just assumed that Sam Jackson's going to be Nick Fury. So we've got
Liam Neeson as Thunderbolt Rock. I like that a lot. Yes. I really like that.
So just for reference, Drew Stark is from Outer Banks. He's in a lot of stuff.
Chloe Grace Yelena. I wouldn't have thought of that. That's good.
And then we've got Ivana. I think her name's Ivana Sakno. Mm-hmm. But she was recently in the Ahsoka show.
Oh, right.
And she was really fucking good in it. And she just looks a lot like Scarlett Johansson.
Is that really what you think? That's brutal.
She just, I don't know, it's one of those characters where...
Yeah, it's so associated
I don't know,
her.
Yeah, but I also don't know much about her
from
enough.
The comics and,
to solidly pick somebody.
Yeah, okay.
It's like, I like the actress.
I think that's a good casting all around. I really like Liam Neeson as Thunderbolt Ross.
He looks like him, man.
He does. You picked the perfect photo for him.
So then we've got Richard Armitage.
Oh, I like that even more.
This is what I was excited about showing you, was all the fan casting.
Oh, I really dig that. Oh, he'd be so good. He'd be so good.
So bearing in mind as well, this is an earlier version of him. So he's still, he's going to be established. He will come back a little bit later on.
Yeah, as he should be.
So Spider-Man. This is all still year one. So you've got Iron Man, Marvel lore, you've got Black Widow and Hawkeye, and you've got Spider-Man.
I think out of the three of them, this would be the one that did the best. Obviously, it's Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's what I did do on my box office thing. So I've established it's going to be very Homecoming style, very Gen Z Peter Parker. I like the whole idea of him using TikTok and being
I like the
a streamer.
that was something
like
from the game I really liked, that he has an Instagram account. Spider-Man would have an Instagram account.
Yeah.
Have you got one thing I will say? Because obviously you've got that you'd have a homemade suit. What kind of suit are you going for? The Marvel Rivals kind of suit, or would you go for classic?
I'm going for the similar one that Tony Stark gives him, because I include Tony Stark going to Peter Parker. So the Civil War scene where he goes to the apartment is here.
Okay.
So he provides him with the suit and stuff. But I don't think he would give him... I don't really like high-tech Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have,
the
built-in
more
AI and
streamlined.
stuff. Yeah.
I was thinking more Ultimate Spider-Man suit. The big eyes and stuff.
Yeah, I'd be fine with something like that.
Yeah.
I like the idea that he's got multiple homemade suits, so that's why I've included that one there.
Yeah.
The film works to establish Spider-Man as an actual superhero that can stand next to people like Tony Stark, despite like the age gap and difference in like life experiences and stuff.
Yeah.
Like he's still capable of being a superhero and like being alongside that group.
Yeah.
By the end of the film, Peter would have a live-action suit that closely resembles the comics, similar to the suit seen in the final swing of No Way Home.
That's my favourite live-action, the favourite live-action suit that the MCU's done. That was the nice bright purple. Not purple, blue.
As you can see, the villain for this film
is Sandman. Yeah. Oh, that's good casting for it as well, yeah. I like that.
I didn't go into detail about it with...
Oh, you've cast everybody.
I have. I've even cast somebody that I've not mentioned. So we've got, obviously, Ashby as Peter Parker. I've got Harrison Osterfield as Harry Osborn. And I've got Sabrina Carpenter.
Ooh, okay.
She only makes a cameo appearance in this.
Black Cat.
As Black Cat. But she's not Black Cat yet.
She's just Felicia Hardy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that's kind of what I imagine Sandman would look like. I've gone for like more of a horror kind of thing.
Yeah.
Body mutilation sort of body horror thing.
Yeah, so like he can't maybe like reform his full appearance or something like that. Okay.
And then this dude is fucking, what is he, Captain Cold? Or is he,
no, he's
the other dude, Captain Hot.
It's not his name.
Hot Man from...
I can't remember
from Prison Break.
He's in the Flash and the Legends of, but I can't remember what his character's called.
He's opposite Wentworth Miller in the Flash.
Is it Heat Ray or something like that? It's something like that.
Captain Warm.
Captain Room Temperature.
Are you ready? Because there's Harrison Osterfield is playing Harry Osborn here.
Yeah! Walter Goggins! Goggins!
Goggins is here as Norman Osborn.
I mean, I kind of wish you'd have, like, because my dream casting for Norman Osborn is Matthew McConaughey, but this works perfectly as well.
So until like 2 days ago, I had Michael Shannon.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I really love Walton Goggins. He's really good.
Mr. The Goggins. Let's get gogged up.
I don't know about that one. So,
here's the box office estimate.
Yeah, we're just ignoring that.
Okay then. If someone watches this and pauses, they're like, you were confident, weren't you?
Well, yeah.
I think you're about right. But I think about there would be fine.
For the first year, I think it's okay. Mm-hmm. So, year 2, No One Left Behind. Captain America, the first Avenger. As you can see, I got fancy with the displays for it.
I think that picture's of Bucky.
I don't care.
He's just a nice picture.
March of year 2. Steve Rogers is recruited into a specialist super soldier program and used by an early version of S.H.I.E.L.D. to operate during World War II against the Nazi and Hydra regime. Rogers leads a team of Howling Commandos with longtime friend Bucky Barnes, and we see the team foil the plans of Hydra. Meanwhile, the evil Baron Zemo, leading Hydra's forces, is working on his own super soldier serum with his personal scientist Arnim Zola. Zola is also responsible for the technology and advancements that Hydra have been making, harnessing the power of a blue cube known as the Tesseract, an alien artifact that Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D. have been secretly waging war over and the key to winning the entire World War.
Okay, it's interesting that you haven't done Red Skull for the first Avenger movie.
Yet.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Glenn Powell is Steve Rogers.
Jamie Lannister.
Yep. Nikolai Coster-Waldau is Baron Zemo.
That's is Glenn Powell in? What live?
He's in Top Gear Maverick.
I've not seen that yet.
That's all I know him from.
Well, he's got the jawline of Steve Rogers.
All I know about Glenn Powell is that he is like the big American male celebrity right now.
Okay.
He is like blowing up in terms of mainstream stuff. He's like moved from being like a B-lister to an A-lister, I think.
Okay, and I think if I went to watch this, I'd be rooting for the villain just because he's played by Jamie Lannister.
And you're going to be seeing a lot of him.
Oh, good.
June of year 2, Daredevil, the Man Without Fear. An introduction and origins to Matt Murdock, Foggy Nelson, and Karen Page with the introduction of Wilson Fisk, Elektra, and Stick.
Is this a series?
This is a film.
A film, okay.
Yep. The Hand and Elektra are the main villains of the film, with there being a vague love triangle between Murdock, Page, and Elektra.
Okay.
Fisk is mostly a side villain, but his origins and his movements around New York and stuff are established, as well as him being behind a lot of gang families and like a lot of the going-ons. Mm-hmm. I like name drops to like Hammerhead and Tombstone and stuff like that, Irish Mob, that sort of thing. We see Daredevil tackle both crime bosses and the Hand throughout the film. The end of the film sets up Bullseye as Fisk contacts a mercenary that is capable and skilled enough to deal with the growing vigilante problem in New York.
Oh, that's smart.
And a fight between Daredevil and Elektra with a self-sacrifice by Elektra to take out the Hand.
That's cool. I like that. I like the fact that like you've acknowledged that there's a lot of vigilantes cropping up in New York right now.
Now, I want to put like an asterisk on the fan casting for this because Charlie Cox is fantastic and we are probably never going to get better, but... Oh, he's not here. There he is.
Oh, he's not here. Oh, Robert Pattinson. This is just because you really like the Batman, isn't it?
But he would be brilliant.
He would be brilliant.
He would be fantastic.
And he looks good in them glasses.
Yes, he looks really good.
Did you make that?
No, I didn't make that.
You found it? Okay.
I did find it.
Sophia, but she's in The Mummy, isn't she?
I think so, yeah. She's also in Kingsman.
I've not watched Kingsman.
You need to watch Kingsman. And she's in Snyder's new films. She's very good.
If we can't keep Charlie Cox. I also love that you've kept Burnfall as the Punisher. It's like, yeah, you may as well. He's perfect for it.
Let's go back a second.
Let's go back to the Punisher.
Right after Daredevil, we've got Punisher. Literally, I think it's like... Yeah, it's literally 2 months later, because they kind of are in the same realm together.
Yeah.
Origins of Frank Castle. His admirations of Captain America I want established here. And the mystery of who killed his family. You can't really go wrong with telling this story.
Well, I think as well, like in the comics, his family isn't necessarily hit. They're killed in Crossfire, I think, aren't they? I'm sure that they're like killed in the Crossfire and it's an accident.
I have no idea.
Like they see something they're not meant to during like a big gang war or something and they just get killed.
I've not read like an actual definitive like Punisher.
I'll need to.
Origins.
I need to read the Garth Ennis run to be fair.
I'm going with the Punisher show though.
The more like the show. Okay.
Yeah, because I reference here. I do prefer the beach house setting over the New York Carousel Massacre. But I like the idea of keeping Russo as the main villain, so you kind of have to...
Yeah.
You can still have the Beach House Massacre.
So yours, it's more inspired by the TV show, yours?
Yeah, if you sort of took the TV show and you took the Thomas Jane one and combined them together...
One question, would he be as cruel and mean as he is in the comics, or are you going for more of an anti-hero?
I'm going for more of an anti-hero.
So yeah, it's more marketable. If you go for cruel and mean Punisher, probably not a lot of people are going to want to watch that.
It's needed at least early on in like my MCU. It's needed for him to be an anti-hero.
Okay, gotcha.
So I'm putting that there's a nice cameo of Daredevil at the end of the film, since filming for both projects would have been close to each other anyway. Russo is turned into Jigsaw at the end of the film with his new look kept hidden and just teased for now.
So yeah, and I'm guessing it's going to be better than what we got in the actual show.
I don't know if we even see it.
Aww.
I don't know if we ever see it. I'm not going to lie to you. I can't remember.
Okay.
But yeah, then we got boom, casting. November of year 2. Iron Man, Patriots and Saints. The first sequel that we've got. It comes out like a year and a half after the first film. So we've got a group of radical terrorists led by a former scientist turned millionaire and rival of Tony Stark want to completely level California and start it fresh as a reborn state. They've developed a serum similar to Super Soldier Serum that explodes humans when congested, creating sacrificial subjects that will be conveniently placed around California to completely erase it from the USA.
So this is like Iron Man 3.
This is Iron Man 3. But I'm taking away all of the Mandarin shit.
Okay.
I'm taking away like anything that people didn't really like with that. And I can't really do his PTSD stuff because I haven't had Avengers yet. I've put that Stark must battle with them. The help from Iron Patriot. This is basically a rerun of Iron Man 3 from the MCU.
You're doing so instead of it being War Machine, it's Iron Patriot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like right off the bat. Because
so he's like maybe like a government-made Iron Man, but then by the end of it, he joins Tony's side.
Yeah,
but he's still in the Iron Patriot guard.
Kind of goes from the government over to
Stark.
the Avengers and Stark side of things.
Gotcha. Okay.
We've still got like the hijacking the president plane scene because that's brilliant, as well as the ending with all the different suits and the fake out of Pepper's death. But without the twist of her having abilities.
I also think if you have it so that the Iron Patriot is the government one, then that makes sense. Then if Norman Osborn ever dons the suit, it's because the government have put him in it, and War Machine just has to make his own based on this. It also might change why they changed the colour scheme.
Yeah. Oh, we've got a big one to read out. So, year 3. So this would be, if you were going off of like real life time, this would be about 2011.
So this isn't like necessarily like an Avengers, this is much more just like these are Marvel properties we're going to release, and then it seems to be more like there
isn't a lot of like
crossover
connective tissue yet. There's no like Phil Coulson popping up.
It just feel more like, okay, we're going to experiment around with it and see what sticks.
Yeah. Avengers Assembled comes out in March of year 3. So the Avengers recruit Daredevil and Punisher reluctantly to the team, as well as being brought together by Nick Fury when the first threat to Earth arises. Fury reveals that he assembled this team because of Peggy Carter's mission back in the 60s, where Hydra was revealed to have survived the events of Captain America 1. Obviously, like, you assume they've been taken down, but obviously if you'd watched the Down the Barrel of the Gun, Marvel lore thing, you know that, well, they're still around by the 60s, so... they're still operating in the shadows, and if they ever made themselves known, America would be ready to defend themselves and the rest of the world. They would have an army more than capable of tackling Hydra. Kingpin gets broken out of prison. I don't know why he's in prison at this point. I'm assuming by the end of Daredevil something would happen.
I've just read there as well that you've put that Captain America and Baron Zemo, they're both... So at the end of that movie, do they both get frozen?
Yeah, so the idea is because the plane scene would still happen, but obviously, the Tesseract, instead of teleporting Zemo to where the Soul Stone is, it just preserves them both.
Okay.
And, S.H.I.E.L.D. go and get Steve, but Hydra have already gone to get Zemo.
Gotcha, okay.
So they're both out of the ice and round about the same time. Zemo's been thawed out a lot earlier than Steve. He's probably been operating in the shadows for a decade at this point already.
Also, another question: has Steve Rogers' name got a D in it?
No.
You've added that.
Yeah,
okay, lovely.
That was just I realised that later in the pitch, and I was like, yeah. So I think, because this is one of the only ones that I didn't rewrite when I went back through.
Yeah.
So at the end of Daredevil or at the end of Punisher, it's kind of confirmed that Fisk sort of gets caught, basically, and sent to prison.
Okay.
Just regular prison, no raft or anything like that.
Okay.
But Kingpin gets broken out of prison by Hydra, led by Baron Zemo. I've also spelt that wrong. It's only got one R.
Baron!
Who has been awake longer than Steve Rogers, and in that time he's assembled plenty of Hydra loyalists to join his cause. Hydra seem to have advanced weaponry thanks to they've still got the Tesseract and all that technology from Zola, almost alien-like, and use that to their advantage, coordinating multiple terrorist attacks around New York at the same time, looking to take over the city. Zemo breaks Kingpin out of prison specifically to gain knowledge on the Avengers. Fisk has dossiers on every single Avengers member and possible future members, and he uses this knowledge to go after Pepper Potts, Foggy Nelson, Karen Page. Hydra holds New York hostage, and the Avengers host an assault on Stark Tower to try and get that tower back, because the idea is that during some sort of mission or whatever, while they're out, maybe out in the field training Punisher or whatever, boom, Hydra have attacked and taken it over.
So you got before being stopped at the top. That's where you were up to.
Oh yes. Hydra holds New York hostage, assault on Stark Tower, fighting their way through the tower before being stopped at the top. The film ends with Zemo killing all 3 hostages, and the Avengers managing to escape the lockdown at the tower during a S.H.I.E.L.D. bombardment. Karen Page, Foggy Nelson, and Pepper Potts are all killed at the end of this Avengers film.
Oh god! Also, I've just realised you've made Kingpin what they tried to do with Lex Luthor in Batman vs Superman. Yeah, he knows who all of the future Justice League members are.
That was completely accidental. I didn't think.
I wonder if he's made logos for them as well, like he did in that.
Probably.
That was nice.
Why not?
Nice.
So I've made a little
of who's cast so far.
Yeah, this would be something that they showed at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
For this is your core cast.
Hang on, go back. Your Avengers team is weird. So you've got Captain America and Iron Man, of course. Yeah, you've got
Black Widow, Hawkeye, Spiderman, Iron Patriot.
But then you've got Daredevil, but Punisher on the first Avengers team. That's mental.
It's purely because this is the point where they're we should collide all these characters together.
Gotcha. All right. So we're also not doing anything cosmic, I suppose. So doing more street level things.
Yeah. It
works. Okay.
Boom! In the same year, July of year 3, ignore that. ignore your box office.
Oh, another confident one, I see.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Well, that's it. Just move on.
I actually had the most fun writing this when I was going. This was the first one that I redid.
Yeah.
And I had loads of fun doing it. So this is a dive into the Cold War antics of Antics, yeah. Of Hank. I didn't mean to do that. That was just on the spot. I was like, antics.
Well, fucking antics.
Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne during their Cold War mission. So I don't know if you remember, but in the Ant-Man film, you get that one scene of them in the Cold War.
Yeah.
And Wasp vanishing. This whole film is based on that one scene because that's my favourite part of that film. So this would be one of the shortest MCU films exploring the events of the Cuban Missile Crisis, and I put maybe a Peggy Carter cameo, but no, she is in this film as a supporting character.
Okay.
This is like the end of her career. She's in like her late 40s. You know, she's getting on a bit now.
Jesus Christ, you think late 40s getting on a bit?
Well, in terms of being like an in-the-field agent, I don't think.
She'd be much more like a desk job.
She's a veteran at this point when it comes to like being in the field. Mm-hmm. So in this film, we actually do see Peggy Carter being given a super soldier serum. I'm doing it, John. During a mission alongside Hank and Janet, Peggy gets trapped inside of a Russian super soldier base. Winter Soldier and Red Guardian are referenced here massively, especially Winter Soldier and like the Civil War style Winter Soldier program with there being loads of them. Carter gets trapped inside of a tank that fills with water and she seemingly on camera drowns to death.
Okay.
That's the end of like her character's run as far as we know. The villain of the film is revealed to be the Red Guardian himself, a Russian super soldier created in the same bunker that Peggy died in. Wasp and Ant-Man must fight him. Obviously, they're not going to be able to take him on properly, so the fight they sort of lose it. Mm-hmm. But they turn to focusing on a missile nuke that he has set off during the missile crisis because he could cause the end of the world here. Yeah. So, Hank tries to follow Wasp, who goes up into the missile, but she vanishes entirely, similar to the flashback. Mm-hmm. She goes into the quantum realm. Hank tries to follow her. They both go in. They sort out the missile, but obviously he then goes after her.
Yeah.
And they both vanish into the quantum realm. That's kind of the end of the film. Mm-hmm. We then get a flash forward, though, to the modern day era of like Hydra attacking New York, and they have like reappeared out of the quantum realm during that event.
Okay.
And they're like, holy shit, what the fuck is going on? S.H.I.E.L.D. have been waiting for them because they're like, well, we've got these operatives. We know that they're out there somewhere. Hank Pym's kind of valuable.
He can shrink.
And then they're kind of brought into
like, to ants.
The modern continuity, basically.
Okay.
Like this, they're brought into like the middle of the conflict of Avengers Assemble.
But they obviously don't appear in that movie. It's sort of like what you see in.
It's like a nice little bridging gap of like.
It's sort of like what you see in is it like the I don't want to bring up the Flash movie, but like where you see like what Flash is doing in the Zod attack and shit like that.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of added shit on there.
Okay. David Harbour's Red Guardian.
Yeah,
Daisy Ridley as Janet. That's pretty. Oh,
yeah,
Raoul! I like Raoul.
I cast him in this role purely because of Midnight Mass.
He's fucking great in Midnight Mass. Have you watched iZombie?
No.
He's fucking phenomenal. It's very funny in iZombie.
But
great.
I think I'm clarifying here that at this point he's going by Henry Pym.
Uh-huh.
He will get to Hank later.
Okay then.
So Avengers 2: Dark Empire.
You're jumping straight into the second Avengers movie.
Yeah, so this all comes out in the same year. So you've got Avengers Assembled, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then Dark Empire.
Okay.
So Hydra has fully occupied the state of New York with the US military and S.H.I.E.L.D. trying to regain control of the city without killing its civilian population.
Oh, of course, because at the end they don't actually win, do they?
No, Foggy, Karen,
they all
and
die
Pepper
and they just
died.
escape a tower. I was like, oh yeah, no, they get out. It's like, oh yeah, the day is
no, Hydra won.
Okay.
The Avengers have been forced apart. They can't agree on how to approach the New York scenario. Daredevil has stepped down after the loss of Karen and Foggy. Spiderman has been forced to evacuate and relocate west with his friends and family because he's not old enough to fight in a world war, basically.
Yeah.
Punisher has gone rogue. I like the idea here that we would get War Machine Punisher.
Yeah, and like he steals like the War Machine armor.
Yeah, he's targeting Hydra outpost on his own.
Or maybe if it's like Rhodey is using the Iron Patriot, he maybe steals that armor, dyes it like a black colour, and that's how you get the classic War Machine armor.
Yeah.
That could work.
That would be cool. So yeah, he's targeting Hydra outposts on his own. Eventually, though, he gets captured and becomes a Hydra prisoner of war. Black Widow, Hawkeye, War Machine, Iron Man and Captain America are all used as leaders during the pushback to reclaim New York. I like the idea we get a montage of them leading different squads to take out Hydra outposts and shit. Yeah. Fisk is also kept as a prisoner of war after being betrayed by Zemo. Similar to Castle, they're being contained in like the same area.
Yeah.
Hank Pym, a scientist from the Cold War era, and Janet are both used because of their abilities to sneak in behind enemy lines.
Why does he change his name to Hank?
It's just what I'm calling him.
Oh, okay.
He's still Henry, but like they would call him Henry in the thing. I've just written Hank.
Okay.
It's revealed that obviously they've spent like 30 to 40 years. They've had to readjust and stuff. You'd get like a bit of a exposition dump if you didn't watch
the quantum
Ant-Man.
realm works differently. So yeah, okay.
Yeah, for them though, I'm changing it so that the quantum realm isn't really like a place. It's more just like time travel.
Right.
Because we don't need to go in there for anything.
Okay then.
So it would have been like in the blink of an eye, boom, they were at the Cold War and now they're here kind of thing.
Yeah.
Ant-Man and Wasp both work together to cause some havoc for Hydra and help S.H.I.E.L.D. after catching themselves up with what was happening. Ant-Man gets injured during their attempts and has to abandon one of their missions, but Wasp pushes through, managing to free Fisk and Frank Castle. During this, she finds another prisoner, a prison cell where a woman with red hair is restrained with a dampening collar around her neck. I wonder who it is.
They've been like this since the 60s.
Well, so the logic that I'm going with is because she's a witch, she doesn't age fully.
Okay, what about Quicksilver?
We'll get there. Okay. Wasp interacts with her. They become, mutuals and stuff. They're friends in the comics.
They exchange pleasantries. They give each other their numbers.
Wasp is going to break Wanda out, essentially. It's very well established that it's the same woman that was previously in the Hydra base. She broke out. They recaptured her kind of thing. She was promised by Hydra to help find Pietro because after they escaped, she lost him and couldn't locate him. In exchange for Zemo being able to use her unique mind-warping abilities. So she helped Zemo, they find Pietro for her. This is where we get the plot twist that Pepper, Foggy and Karen aren't dead, and it was all a Scarlet Witch illusion.
Oh, okay, so they're not dead.
Wasp essentially gives an amazing pep talk to Wanda to make her realise her strength and power, and Wanda breaks free of the collar. And
what
together,
might that pep talk be?
I don't fucking
Come on, lass!
Come on, get up. We'll have a Stella when we're done.
One thing I will say, so I'm guessing that they only put this collar back on her when they lock her up again. So does that mean that when she did those illusions,
when she was younger, back in like the flashback, so they would have been much younger when they broke free. She lost Pietro and kind of like wandered around for a bit.
Does the power dampening collar only restrain her from doing like?
It's like an X-Men mutant power kind of thing.
But so she can still do like mind illusions.
As long as it's by like she's doing it with the permission of Zemo.
Okay. Gotcha.
Otherwise, he's going to torture the shit out of her.
Okay, gotcha.
So pep talk. They break free of the collar. Basically, Scarlet Witch, Wasp, Punisher, and Fisk start to take down Hydra from the inside.
Okay.
While Hydra are distracted with the rest of the Avengers, basically it's like an assault from the inside and the outside.
Yeah.
Zemo and his super soldiers manage to hold off the Avengers while Black Widow and Punisher rescue Karen. I don't know why I've specified them too, but they kind of branch off. I like the idea that they meet in the middle and they're like, oh, you're already set free.
Yeah.
Basically, the ending scenes show Zemo being taken to the raft after like a big confrontation. You get, Captain America versus Zemo with his sword kind of thing at the top of Stark Tower.
Yeah.
Nice visual. Nick Fury congratulating the Avengers. America and the other countries helping to rebuild New York. Basically, everything back to normal.
Yeah.
After like a little bit of a time skip. But it's clarified Wanda Maximoff is not recognized as an Avenger. Mm-hmm. Steve Rogers also makes it very clear that Punisher isn't associated with the team. They'll pardon him for his crimes from the Punisher film and anything that's happened sort of in between.
Yeah.
But they don't want him on the team.
Which makes sense, because the Punisher isn't an Avenger. He doesn't handle authority very well.